Good morning, friends. Students, good morning to you all. Now, here I am from line number 87 to 129, where Act 1, Scene 2 will be over and your unit test 1 portion will be over. Okay, so till line number 86, we have seen that how the 6 suitors have come and what all thing happened, the conversation between Nerissa and Portia. Now, you will see when this Portia was telling about the Duke of Saxony nephew, then afterward, what was the reply of Nerissa? She says, if he should offer to choose and choose the right casket, you should refuse to perform your father's will. If you should refuse to accept him. Now, Nerissa says to Portia, like you were saying that you will never marry this Duke of Saxony nephew, but if he should offer to make his choice, if he make the right choice, chooses a correct casket, will you refuse to honor your father's will? It was your father's will that whoever will choose the right casket, you have to marry. So will you refuse it? Then Portia said, therefore, for fear of the worst, I pray thee, set a deep glass of Rhenish wine on the contrary casket. Portia says, in order to avoid this situation, as I cannot go against my father's will, so what I will do, I will place a glass of Rhenish wine on the wrong casket. For if the devil be within and that temptation without, I know he will choose it. I will do anything, Nerissa, ere I will be married to a sponge. So she says, even if the devil is in the casket, but the temptation of wine is outside, he will choose that particular casket. Why she is confirmed with that? Because he is a big drunkard, and definitely when he will see the Rhenish wine, he always loved to drink, so he will choose that casket, and therefore she will place it on the wrong casket, and he will choose that casket, and this way Portia will be safe from marrying to a drunkard. Married to a sponge means married to a drunkard. Nerissa says, you need not fear, lady, the having any of these lords. Nerissa says, my dear madam, not to worry of marrying any of these lords. They have acquainted me with their determinations, which is indeed to return to their home and to trouble you with no more suit. She says, they have informed me their decision to go back to their homes and to trouble you no more with their suits, because they are not going to choose the casket, so you are not going to worry about it. They are going back. They have informed me. Unless you may be won by some other sort than your father's imposition, depending on the casket. Unless you are won by no other method except the one imposed by your father. That is by choosing the correct casket. She says, now only your father's will, that is of choosing the right casket, so only the person who will choose the right casket is going to marry you. Not to worry about these 6 suitors. They are already going. They are not ready to move on with this deal. Then Portia says, if I live to be as old as Sibylla, I will die as chaste as Dinah, unless I be obtained by the manner of my father's will. Now in this, here you will see Sibylla and Dinah, 2 characters she explained that was from ancient times. So before going to the extract, let me explain you who was Sibylla and who was Dinah. So Sibylla was the prophetess in Roman mythology. According to Roman mythology, she was the prophetess. Apollo granted her as many years of life as there were sand grains she held in her hand. And Apollo, the god Apollo, granted her many years of life. Here she is used as a traditional old woman. Like she can live forever. Till when she wants, she can live. So here Sibylla is used as a traditional old woman. And Dinah was the goddess of virginity in Roman mythology. She was also the goddess of hunting and of the moon. So here Portia compare herself to Sibylla and Dinah. She says, I will live to be as old. Means I will live old as Sibylla lived, and I will die as chaste, as Dinah was virgin. She never married. She never knew any men. So same way I will also die like that, unless I be obtained by the manner of my father's will. She says, unless if I am not won by the method laid down in my father's will. I am glad this parcel of wooers are so reasonable, for there is not one among them but I date. She is saying, I am glad that this crowd of suitors are very reasonable, and there is none among them whose absence I regret. She says these people are reasonable, that they are just going away, because none of them I like, and I even won't regret that they are leaving the place. And I prayed to God, grant them a fair departure, and said, I just pray to God that grant them a happy departure, happy journey. Then Nerissa says, do you not remember, lady, in your father's time, a Venetian, a scholar, a soldier, that came hither in company of the Marquess of Montferrat? Now here Nerissa is talking about Bassanio. She says that, do you remember, lady, at your father's time, a Venetian, a scholar, a soldier came, who had come here in the company of the Marquess of Montferrat. And he came here in the in that company. This Marquess of Montferrat means it is a title of an Italian nobleman, to an Italian nobleman, because Bassanio was from Venice, that is in Italy. So he was an Italian nobleman, and he who would have been known by name in England at this time. Okay, so that is why she called, she says that that he was Marquess of Montferrat. He was an Italian nobleman who came here, a scholar, a soldier. Do you remember? Portia says, yes, it was Bassanio, as I think so was he called. Now they are talking about Bassanio, and Portia really loves Bassanio, and she was knowing. She said, yes, I remember, and he was none other, he was Bassanio. Nerissa, true, madam, he of all the men that ever my foolish eyes looked upon was the best deserving a fair lady. Nerissa says, true, madam, he was Bassanio, and of all the men that ever my foolish eyes have seen, he seemed to me the most deserving to win a fair lady. And said, according to me, I feel he is the correct man, he is the deserving man to win a fair lady. Like, he is a perfect figure, he is a perfect man to get a fair lady. Portia says, I remember him well, and I remember him worthy of thy praise. Portia says, yes, I remember him, and I am really worthy that what you are praising, that is absolutely true. When they were talking, the servant entered. So Portia said, how now, what news? She said, what is the news? Then servant says, the 4 strangers seek for you, madam, to take their leave, and there is a forerunner come from a 5th, the Prince of Morocco. Now servant, now you can see here, he is telling the 4 strangers, and actually how many were there? 6. Now there will be a question arising. So there were 6 suitors, then why only 4 are there? So just you see here, Shakespeare has written the 4 strangers. He says 6 have been mentioned earlier. Possible explanation for this is Shakespeare seems to have forgotten that 6 suitors have been discussed. Means it is a play. So maybe after the dialogue of a servant, before that, he means when the servant dialogue came, he might have forgotten that there were 6 suitors. Or the Scottish and English lords were added to the scene to amuse the audience, or there were only 4, and the 5th, Scottish and English lord, they were added just to give amusement to the audience. And the servant regards 2 of the suitors with such contempt that they are not even worth mentioning. So these may be the reason. So here by the servant, it was regarded as 4 strangers. So if the question asked why the servant told about the 4 stranger as there were 6, so you have to write the same line. You can write this in your copy, that Shakespeare first, he might have forgotten about the 6 suitors, or second point, the Scottish and English lords were only added for amusement. So servant has just regarded them as not so important to mention. And servant says they are living, and the 5th prince, who was the 5th, the Prince of Morocco, who brings word the prince's master will be here tonight. And the 5th Prince of Morocco is here. He brings the news that the prince's master will be here tonight. He said there is a messenger telling about his prince, that his prince will be tonight, he will be coming. Portia says, if I could bid the 5th suitor 5th welcome with so good heart as I can bid the other 4 farewell. Portia say, if I could welcome the 5th suitor as gladly as I bid farewell to the other 4, I should be glad of his approach if he have the condition of a saint and the complexion of a devil. And said, I should be happy to hear of his arrival if he has the virtue of the saint but the dark complexion of a devil. I had rather he should shrive me than wive me, and said, I would prefer that he hears my religious confession rather than marrying me. Said she is saying that I am not, means the happiness that she is getting in bidding those four strangers, that happiness she is not able to get in welcoming the fifth one. So she say, I'm not getting that happiness. I should be happy to hear of his arrival if he has the virtue of a saint. If his virtue is of a saint, but the dark complexion of a devil, I would prefer that he hears my religious confession. I prefer he should hear my religious confession rather than marrying me. Then she says, Come, Nerissa, Sirrah, go before while we shut the gate upon one wooer, another knocks at the door. She said, Nerissa, come, let us go ahead as we shut the gates or gates on one suitor, another knocks at the door. As we are bidding farewell to one suitor, another is knocking at the door. So this way Portia end up her words, and this way this act 1 scene 2 also finishes. And now this Prince of Morocco, the fifth suitor who comes, that you will see in act 2 scene 1, not in act 1 scene 3. It will be this continuation of act 1 scene 2 is in act 2 scene 1. I hope you all understood. Thank you.